All right. Very exciting panel. I took off my glasses. I'm the same guy as you saw yesterday, just in case. I can't read my phone, my glasses on. Okay, so we are going to do a pitch panel, talking to 3 people here who've done a lot of pitches, made a lot of pitches, and we're going to talk a little bit about do's and don'ts, right? We want to know and share with the audience who are maybe making their own pitch deck right now, about what some of the stuff that you guys have been doing seen to happen. And the most important thing I want to know is, how important is the pitch deck in 2024? So yesterday and throughout the conference, we've seen a lot of startups pitching. They have, a standard 10, 12 slide deck with different things about companies and things like that. But you guys have seen it. You guys have made a lot. Claire, you've seen a lot. How important is it? Do we need to keep doing this, or should we just do like an email or a one-pager? Let's start with you.
Okay. Well, I think depends on, like, comparing the one page or summary paragraph with the pitch deck. I think depends on the moment of the interaction.
Yep.
So, like, when you are like starting to engage with an investor, I think it's better to have like a short paragraph or a one pager. But as the investor is asking for more details and information and trying to go deeper in the thesis, the pitch deck, it's, I think, the best tool you have. But the pitch deck is not the most important thing. I think it's an important thing, but not the most. And it's a tool. In my opinion, it's just a tool.
Okay.
You need to know how to use it and to answer all the questions that investors might asking.
Okay, great. Claire?
Totally agree. I think these days, one of the big mistakes founders make is that they don't have all the tools in their toolbox. So sometimes I'll have a founder in my portfolio and they want an introduction to another investor. And I say, well, I'm not going to send the deck. I need your intro paragraph. And I'm amazed that even great founders are sort of scrambling to create a really quality intro paragraph. Or they send me something that's half a page, and that's not appropriate. And so you need all the tools in your toolbox. You need the intro paragraph. You need the blurb. You need the deck. And you need the video. And let me say one quick thing about videos. I have seen a trend towards more and more video pitches these days, and my big concern with them is that they are not tight and they are just seen as like an easier thing to create than putting in the work to create a short paragraph.
Oh, interesting.
Be careful of video.
Okay, interesting.
Good tip.
Yeah, I mean, the pitch is how you get the attention, but it's not how you gain trust from potential investors. So it is really important to have a pitch that you can show how you're building your company, you're solving a problem. But this is just for getting an attention. To fully engage with an investor, you must build trust. And this is just one part of the process. The process is way longer than just having a pitch deck.
Okay, so this is the question I also want to ask, because people come up here, they're pitching. It's like a performance, right? Everybody's they're trying to attract the judges and get people excited, get the audience excited. How do you prepare a pitch depending on the type of audience or the meeting that you're having, right? I think I've also told a lot of startups you need to have different kinds of pitches, different kinds of decks for different kinds of meetings, right?
Yep.
If you meet somebody in an elevator, you need the elevator pitch, but some people don't want to hear a life story, right? They want something very fast. How do you guys prepare specific pitches for a specific audience and meetings?
Yeah, first of all, I try to understand the other side of the table. So who's the investor, what expertise the investor have in the industry, how deep we can go. So for example, if I'm talking to an investor that have already invested in many fintechs in the space that we work, of course, I will go deeper. If I'm talking to an investor that's more like a broad strategy, like trying to cover many different verticals, I don't go that deeper. So it's important to understand the other side, and also to understand, again, the moment of the interaction. So when you are in the first talk, I don't like to go so deep, because I think it's when you understand the investor is asking the information, you go and bring the infos that they are asking. So I'll say that.
Okay, good. What do you say, Claire?
Absolutely. The key thing is understanding who's on the other side of the table. So the way I'm going to pitch an audience of 6,000 people here, or potentially 34,000 people watching this today, is all about how interesting my idea is and how big it is, right? If I'm pitching an investor in a one-to-one meeting, what I'm trying to convey as a founder is exactly why they might want to invest and why investing might be a great idea for them. These are different concepts.
Yeah. Do you find when you meet startups, they do a lot of research on you?
No, and this is super sad, right?
Yeah.
Because just a 2-minute Google search can give you incredible information to use in either the intro, hey, how are you? How's Argentina today? type of conversation, or in terms of more comprehensive stuff, of course.
Claire is an accomplished author as well, and a lot of books. So if you want to meet her, you should read a couple of her books, at least to talk about it, right?
I don't know. Some of them are very bad, but thank you, Casey.
Okay. How about yourself?
So I think the less time you have, the simplest you must be. Because if you have just like 30 seconds span to talk with someone in an elevator, your pitch must be as simple as possible. You have to get the attention to get to the next meeting, to the next point. You have 30 seconds, so your main goal is to get the person to be interested enough to call you for a 5-minute call later on, and then a 30-minute call, and then you get momentum and you you grow trust to get to the point that you have like a longer meeting in person with the investor, so you can have enough time to explain all the complexity about your business. So less time, more simple as possible.
Yeah, can I add one thing?
Yeah.
I think the one pager or the paragraph summary, the main goal is not like to make the investor decides to make the investment, but to arouse the curiosity.
Curiosity.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's the main goal.
Yeah.
So like to be concise and very straightforward, I think is the most important thing, and practice a lot.
Yeah,
practice
I agree.
a lot. Yeah.
I agree. That's the main point. A lot of startups are so into their product that they just think that I need to tell the whole story, how it came about, and where I came from, who my team is, but they don't actually know that investors are looking at hundreds of these a day, a week, right? Thousands a month, and they start to blend over, right? And I think it's the hook that gets people into it. So from that, what is some of the best startup pitches, or what's one startup pitch that you can remember right now, all of you, start with you, that you can remember that you're thinking, wow, this is...
I don't remember the startup in the case, but I remember the structure of the deck.
Okay.
It was like, I think, 8-10 slides with like short sentences, like graphs and some quotes. And the narrative was very well written. So it's kind of like the slides had a connection between each other. And when I stopped like reading it, it was very clear, the thesis, the message, the opportunity, the potential. So I don't remember exactly the startup was, because I tend to work more building decks than like reading, but yeah, it was like very straightforward, like, and short sentences.
Straightforward, short sentences, some images, some...
And there was a narrative, a clear narrative.
And what do you mean by narrative? Why don't you, can you double down
like
on that?
I would say like the 5 main things I think the pitch deck must cover. What the startup does, what's the problem they are solving, the side of the opportunity, traction, numbers, or traction must be in the deck, and also the team expertise, the team history.
And does one slide, do you think, weighs heavier than the other ones when you see that, of those 8? In your mind, personally?
In my opinion, I would say traction. Because I think result 100%. Is key. Result is key.
Yeah. Okay, how about you, best
So I'm okay investing in pre-seed, so I don't necessarily need traction. Obviously, that matters if you're investing later. I will say, in terms of the best decks, the one slide they do contain, which I think 80% of decks don't contain, is a slide about competition. Yeah. I think, just as you're saying, Casey, that startup founders get so focused on why they are amazing that they kind of forget that other people are out there, and we see hundreds of decks every week. And so it's a huge red flag to me if I'm looking at a deck and talking to a founder and there's no mention of the clear competitors out there, or even worse, if I then ask and they go with a sort of, oh, well, we don't really have any competitors, right?
That's the worst.
It's a huge red flag to me. Right. So please put a competitor slide in the deck. It's not, they don't have to be a one-to-one competitor, but I need to see that you are living in reality.
Yeah, right, exactly.
I have 2 comments. First, directly related to that, honesty. Everybody has a page saying, like, my product does, they have all of the features, and my competitors, they all lack something.
Exactly.
Everybody has this page, so this page doesn't work anymore. Yeah. So you have to be honest about your product, about what you're delivering, and it is okay to not deliver everything. Yeah. Because you're not supposed to do everything at once when you're starting a company. So you have to be the best at one specific point, and then you evolve to other things. So I think honesty is very important when you're building the deck. Yeah. And that leads to the second topic, which is you want to create trust with your investor. Yeah. So if you have something that is clearly not what you should be saying to the investor, like this page where you have everything and your competitors, they all lack something, you're not building trust. So I think to do that, I would go for the first page. What is your most valuable asset?
Yeah.
What you have that is very different from the others. You don't need to have everything in the beginning, but this one thing, you are the best. And I would start the pitch deck with this one slide.
It used to be putting AI at the first page. Wow, look at this. Or blockchain, right? Okay, so I've seen a lot of decks where they're the opposite of what you said with a few lines. They have thousands of lines on there. And I'm like, am I supposed to be reading it or listening to the guy pitching it? I'm very confused. So what are some worst things or the things you think red flags, if the deck shows you're like, okay, this person doesn't know what they're doing, or this is like, I don't want to read the rest of this.
Yeah, I think the deck is like with many texts, confusing, I think is the worst thing you can do. I remember, I've already invested in 7 startups, an angel investor, and I received a deck from a very interesting thesis, one of the best theses that I've seen recently, because I'm from this vertical, this segment, so I understand what they're doing, but if you read the deck, like,
they don't know what
you never
doing.
know. And what like comes to my mind when I read it, it's how this founder, how this CEO can pass the message to this team, what they are building, the vision. So this is one of the most important tasks that this CEO will have to do. And if he hasn't the clarity like to do that, it was like a red flag for me. So I decided not investing because it was like very confused. And not but just because of the deck, but because the CEO and the founder could not like get a clear message to the investors and probably to the team as well. So yeah, I think this is what happened to me.
Okay.
I'm a sucker for spark, okay? So I like when there's something interesting in a deck. I get really bored when I feel like I'm just watching the Y Combinator template being repeated over and over and over again.
Right.
So, there are different ways to create spark, right? Like interesting images, kind of quirky words, being really clear about how you are absolutely different. But more than anything, what I love as an investor is when I see a deck and the deck is clearly trying to let me in on a secret, right? This is what is so cool about our business. And this is maybe what other investors aren't going to be smart enough to see. And so that's really my favorite hook in decks.
That's interesting. Yeah, I like that.
I think the worst thing that you can do is delegate the work. Nobody should do the deck besides you. You were the one to do the deck because you have the clear picture about the history you want to tell, the storytelling you want to construct on your pitch deck. So the worst thing I've seen is people delegating the work to other people to help them and to try to create a narrative. And in the end, you have a Frankenstein. You have parts of the history on one side of the deck, and the storytelling is not a very clear construct. So I would say the worst thing you can do is try to delegate part of the work. You shouldn't. You just do it.
I disagree strongly.
Oh, okay.
I think creating messaging is so hard. It's a complete art. And so the founder has to be intimately involved. But many times you have founders who really don't know what they're doing when it comes to marketing and branding. And so I think you need a partner in it and you have to be intimately together. But if you're a founder and that's not your skill set, I don't want to see like a 3-sentence mission statement that includes the word innovation 10 times,
Okay. What do you think? I think that's a good balance on those two things. Yeah. Because I think the founder is so close to it, they don't know what is not important. That a third party would look at it and be able to cut through some of it, right, and make it more catchy and point. So that's my next quick question. It's like, how important is design, graphic design? I'm a graphic designer. That's my background. So how important? Because immediately when I see something made in like PowerPoint, I'm using the standard fonts. I'm like, whoa, right? But how important do you think is design? Is it important? Does it catch your eye if you have a cool font, cool logo? Is that important?
1,000, for me, 1,000%. I want the presentation to be fantastic.
For me, I would say like 1 to 10. I would say like 5. Yeah, it's important, but I think the message to be clear, it's most important thing. So and you can do that like without having a great design or something else.
Okay, great.
I prefer customers and revenues than design, but
Okay.
I understand how important design is as well.
Yeah.
I'm not the one doing the design, for sure,
sure,
but I'm the one building the storytelling. So I understand you should have a partner to design, but you shouldn't have someone telling the story you're supposed to tell.
Okay. Okay, that's great. Okay, so we talked a lot about the pitch deck. Now I want to talk a little bit about the pitcher, okay? How do we get to the level fast? How do you think people, the startup founder, can get to the level fast of building kind of a trust bond within like 30 seconds? Like, what are some things that you guys have seen where somebody comes in and is able to get more personable with you? Like, at least doing the research, I think, is the number one thing, so they already know a little bit about you. But what are some things, quick ways for some startups to like jump faster into the conversation and feel passionate, enthusiastic, but also intelligent about what they're about to pitch you?
I think being honest, transparent, and not trying to be another person, or like go clear. Like, if you're scaling a startup, of course they're going to have many problems in the company. Nobody thinks that it's all perfect and all in place. So if you're not telling also the bad side or like the problems you're facing, and investors cannot like see it, I think doesn't build trust. So I would say like being honest, it's very important. I remember the investor that led our Series A round in 2021. We started meeting like it's supposed to be like take like 30 minutes. We ended up like talking for 2 hours. And when he put
That's a clear sign, right?
That's a clear sign. When he put up the term sheet at the time, he hasn't even seen the pitch deck, because he built the trust before. He already knew the thesis. He already invested in
that's a main thing to explain to people.
But like this was much more important than only the pitch deck. So I think building this trust and as was clear and very honest with him.
Yeah.
So I think this was what
How much was that check for?
How much?
Yeah.
It was $21 million.
Okay, 20. So there you go.
Nice.
So maybe a seed stage can go debt-wise, but a higher amount is definitely, am I going to give this guy $20 million and he's going to, do something
I think
with it?
all these stages, but like Series B plus, I think the deck and go deeper in the numbers is very important. But like building trust and building a clear relationship, it's important in all stages. All stages.
Yeah. Claire?
Okay, 2 quick questions you can ask the funder you are trying to pitch. The first question has to do with the 2 minutes on Google you spent trying to learn about the investor. Ask something about their life. Ask something that you found on Google that's relevant about them. The second question, try to create a bridge between what you are pitching and what the funder cares about. So if I'm pitching a cool new doggy pet techie thing, ask me if I have a pet, if I care about animals. Ask me some sort of open-ended question that creates a bond. Please.
Okay, bring a bond is very good.
I totally agree with that. I mean, if you're pitching someone something that the person clearly doesn't understand because it's not part of their life, people like what they understand. So you have to create this connection and make sure that what you're pitching is part of their life at least at some part of their life. Yeah.
Great.
Can I add one thing? And also not just create the bond, but use this opportunity talking to investors to like ask about what he thinks about the business model, what he has seen in other startups cases. Like fundraising for me is a period of time that I learned the most. So I try to
That's good. Well, that's why you raise so much money. Because I think a lot of startups don't do that. They don't take, if you feel that the meeting's going down, but they don't take the chance to learn why it's going down, I think that's a missed opportunity.
It's part of entrepreneur to ask. Entrepreneur must ask also.
Yeah, curiosity is always good. Okay, we only have 30 seconds left. Okay, so I'm going to do a speed round. Okay, I'm going to ask you all a quick question about pitch decking. Pitch decking, that's my new verb. A thumbs up or thumbs down on these things. Okay? I should send my pitch deck to investors on LinkedIn with no direct introduction. Okay, that's different. I should send my pitch deck to investors on LinkedIn with a warm introduction.
With a pitch deck.
Okay. I should have different pitch decks for different types of investors. Okay. Well, not so, that's a kind of medium. Kind of a medium. My pitch deck should be sent as an attached PDF. Okay. My pitch deck should be sent on DocSend, like a third-party, thing to see. Okay. My pitch deck should have a slide about how much money I'm raising. Okay, interesting. My pitch deck should have my contact details on every slide. Okay, wow. All right. My pitch deck should be more than 20 slides and have as much info on them as possible. Okay. Investors will invest just by seeing a great pitch deck. Okay? Wow. And Brazilian startups make the best pitch decks in the world. All right, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.